All right, everyone. Welcome back to Detroit Sports Flow here with BK
and Speaks.
This week, we will be diving into the Detroit Lions' 38-30 victory over the Baltimore Ravens on primetime television. Monday night, Speaks, we came out and we played a great football game. We're able to get the win here.
Yeah, it was a huge game on the national stage, on the road. I couldn't ask for a better outcome, BK.
Me either, man. I was wrong with my prediction, but I love to see it.
And I was right, baby.
But with that, we're going to dive into, in today's episode, we're going to go into the opening drive where we thought the Lions had a lot of success on the opening drive in the way that they were able to open up the Baltimore Ravens defense. We're going to talk about Dan Campbell's fourth down decisions as he went for it a couple times on fourth down, which were
Those
a little questionable.
Baby.
Yeah, the guy has very much cojones. He knows what to do in these type of situations. Always is aggressive. You love to see it. But then after that, we're going to dive into how effective our running attack was in this week's game, the way we were able to control the trenches with our offensive line. Also talk about our big goal line stop, one of the biggest plays or sequences of the entire game where we were able to stop Baltimore on the goal line. Then we're going to dive into how we were able to put some pressure on Lamar Jackson, how we were able to rattle him, get him off his spot. He's a star quarterback. Very difficult to do that. We were able to do it. And then we're going to talk about the big turnover that Hutch was able to force and the opportunities that we had with forcing turnovers and where we see that going down the road here for the Lions this season. And then we'll get finally into our players of the game this week, the report cards for the coaches, and then our predictions for this week's game versus the Cleveland Browns. Let's get into it. All right, Speaks, let's get into this first clip here. This first play of the game, we are targeting Jameson Williams, number one here. We know he's our big play threat. We're trying to open up this Baltimore Ravens defense.
Get them on their heels.
Get them on their heels a little bit here. This is able to, get our offense a little bit more space to work with, able to get the running game going a little bit
action.
more. Yeah, open up more room for St. Brown as well.
They got to respect the flash of speed.
Immediately.
Yes.
And that was what the game plan was coming out. They immediately get it to him there, and then later on in the drive here, they target him as well, Speaks. I believe this was a third down. They end up finding J-Mo to get into the red zone.
Perfect throw where only J-Mo could get it.
Sits down right in the zone there. Absolutely perfect. This started the game very strong, Speaks, and I had a lot of confidence in our offense after this opening drive.
It started the game strong and set us up for success as the game went on. These were the only two receptions Waymo had all game. 2 receptions for 43 yards, and then we basically used him as a decoy the rest of the game to set everything else across the middle and on the sidelines, and then with our running game up front. And this is exactly what we needed to do to get our offense rolling against a fantastic Baltimore Ravens defense on the road.
Exactly. On the road is the big key. You got to quiet down this crowd. Johnny Morton had a great game plan going into it. I'm sure Dan Campbell had something to say about that too. But with that, they were able to be very effective on this first drive and get Baltimore's defense guessing a little bit here.
Yeah, and Goff mentioned before the game that the cadences, he practiced this over and over, that it's something he didn't do in previous games because he wanted to make sure with this loud environment on prime time that everyone was in sync and on the same page, and it proved very diligent in this game.
Yeah, it did. And even on top of that, with this first drive, we're talking about a situation where we're faced with a 4th and 3, Speaks. One of those situations where people are looking at Dan Campbell like, why aren't you taking the points here? He's able to convert a pass to St. Brown on that 4th and 3, able to get us within the 5-yard line, and then at that point, Jahmyr Gibbs is running it right down the throat, and we're getting that touchdown right out of the game.
And it's funny you brought that up because on the broadcast, Troy Aikman says, if I was the coach here, I would on the road, I would just get those 3 points. MCDC isn't your average coach. He's gonna run it down your throat, and he's gonna make sure that we get all the points, not just the 3 points. He wants to see if we can get those 7 points on the road and then force the issue.
Exactly, and put the pressure on the other team.
Yeah.
You can't just be settling for field goals in this league. Dan Campbell knows that. He comes out, makes a statement with the first drive here. All right, Speaks, let's dive into some of these fourth down decisions that Dan Campbell made, which ended up being the winning factor in this week's game. The first one here, on the first drive, like we were mentioning a little bit earlier, it's a 4th and 3, and you can see here that Jared Goff gets everybody in order, making adjustments at the line of scrimmage, knows St. Brown's his old reliable target, gets him on the inside here, and then this is just money.
Just money. Look at this.
Boom! Right on the outside.
Right on the outside, just like they drew it up, baby.
Just like they drew it up. Easy pitch and catch to St. Brown. You know what you're getting with him. He's all reliable. He's not going to drop the ball there. He's going to get the route right. And I really like the rub concept that they created with putting him on the inside there. Absolutely perfect start to the game.
And one thing that I want to touch on that you already brought up that I think is really important is how Goff controlled that line of scrimmage, how he got everyone in the right position to make this play what it was. On a silent count, on the road, in Baltimore.
First drive,
very well done to establish dominance.
Yeah.
Establish the dominance up front and put the pressure on the home team.
Yeah, make a statement.
Exactly.
And that's what it was all about. They knew that Baltimore was going to come out and score, and they had to get touchdown right there. And that's exactly what they did. This next one is as creative as it gets, Speaks. This is old Ben Johnson type of play.
But Scotty Moe adds his own little flair.
Yeah, with Scotty Moe making a play or making the decision here. And then also on top of that, Johnny Morton kind of diving into his bag of tricks with it. And then Dan Campbell also supporting it.
And one thing I'd like to add is they were talking about this on the post-game show with St. Brown, that Gibbs said, this comes up every week and we never use it, St. Brown. We never use it. And St. Brown was like, we're going to use it this week just because you said that. And look what they did. They run it to perfection,
sure
baby.
Did.
Run it.
This is 4th and 3 here, and you can see how creative the Lions get. Little handoff to Amon-Ra St. Brown. He gets the ball in an upright position, ready to pitch it. Little option, speed option with Gibbs right to the house. Big time touchdown there, too. We're able to get 7 points rather than 3.
And St. Brown's always in the thick of stuff when it comes to these trick plays because that's how reliable and smart this guy is as a player. Son of God, baby.
Yeah, they trust him not to make a mistake there.
Yep.
That's a big one. And then this last one, Speaks. This is where it really comes down to it. This is 4th and 2. There's a minute 50 left in the game here.
50-yard line.
And it's a situation where they're going to have to give the ball back to Baltimore. They know they've got the lead, but at the same time, we're only up 7 at this point. It's like we have to continue to control the game, keep the ball in our hands so we have the ability to keep that control. And they decide to put St. Brown in a spot to really succeed here.
Yeah, and we were having the same formation the whole game, making it look like St. Brown's going in for a run block right here. And then what does he do? He sneaks out, and they aren't ready for it.
He sneaks out, and they're not ready for it because they have to switch at the corner
spot. And they got to hold him.
And then what a ball from Goff.
Oh my
Just
God.
Put it right over the shoulder. Biggest play of the game. It leads to a Montgomery touchdown on the next play. But that ends up changing the entire landscape of the game because then we give it back to them with a 14-point lead. Sure enough, Baltimore goes down the field. They score, but we still have control and we're able to win the thing.
We have the control, and this is the best I've seen Goff play in a big national stage game that I can remember when he's been on the Lions. This was just an excellent, every time we needed a big throw, big play, he was right on the money, on the road. I've never seen him more prepared than I have for this game, BK.
Yeah, it looked like he was clicking on all cylinders. It looked like that last week, too. It's looking like Jared Goff could be back to the Jared Goff that we saw last year. He's just so underrated, man. I'm ready to say it. Jared Goff is an elite quarterback in this league, and nobody looks at him in that light, but he makes all the throws. He makes the best decisions he can possibly make with this. He's not extremely athletic or flashy like a lot of these other guys, but when you're talking about a game manager who's going to be able to put his weapons, which we have plenty of them,
and he's a
in
great
the right
leader.
spot, then that's what you're getting with Goff.
Yeah, and everyone follows behind Goff League. Everyone wants to play behind Goff. Everyone, when they say they talk bad about him, the guys are like, we rally behind Goff. He's our leader. He's a badass. And because Goff is a badass, he is the man, and he makes the engine run when he has the time to do so, and that starts with our O-line.
Yeah, doesn't get the credit he deserves. Speaks, we got to dive into this Detroit Lions dominant rushing attack in this game. The first clip here, this is the Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown to start the game. You can see with the combo blocks right out of the gates that you're going to see this throughout the entire game, where the Lions' interior offensive line is getting two guys to the middle of the Ravens defense, but you'll see it when the guards are touching one guy, they're gonna like move on to the next guy, which is at the linebacker spot. We were not doing this versus the Green Bay Packers.
No, we were not.
This is where things have changed, where the experience is starting to grow with Tate Ratledge, the rookie right guard, and then also Christian Mahogany, the other young left guard. But they're starting to communicate with Glasgow a little bit here, and it's opening up massive holes for these very talented running backs that we have to get through. This is one of my favorite runs of the day here. This is David Montgomery busting one for 72 yards. But look at the guards here. Look how they get to the next level, and Penei Sewell gets right to Roquan Smith here. Zero pushes him right out of the way just like that, and then David Montgomery off to the races.
Just amazing. Just amazing.
And you can see Penei Sewell celebrating behind him there with Taylor Decker because he knows he sprung the block. And that's the thing that we were missing here in the first couple weeks, Speaks. If we can get back to this running attack with this offense, it is going to be extremely tough to stop again. Averaged 33 points a game last year. We're going to average over 33 points again this year if we're able to run the ball like this.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is exactly what our offense is built upon, is getting to that next level. Our offensive linemen blocking multiple people, creating those lanes for our running backs to get to, and then the evidence, the proof's in the pudding. I mean, you just saw it. Montgomery did his thing. It was good to get Knuckles back involved, and these offensive linemen, everyone is playing at a cohesive, good unit right now.
Yeah, and they were able to get to the linebackers. Yeah. That's the biggest thing with these combo blocks, is you're able to get to the next level. And you get to the next level with these running backs, like I mentioned, they're gonna get that space, and then watch out. That's a prime example of what we were succeeding with this offensive game plan.
Yeah.
But as we keep looking here, Speaks, this is another one. You're going to see here, they're getting things moved around. David Montgomery's getting ready to go. Goff is checking at the line. He's pointing out the mic. He's getting things ready. Sending Laporta to the other side here. And then this is Montgomery just hitting the gap.
And if you notice Mahogany, he taps his right side of his behind, saying, run on this side, Montgomery. And then he just busts it through the line. See? Right there. Right there. There's his signal. Come right here. Now, boom. Perfect. Perfect. That's a young offensive lineman who is telling his running back which side he analyzes him that he needs to go on. Perfect, smart play by the young guard.
Yeah, showing where he's getting the seal block from. That is a huge indication that that was going to be successful. He knew exactly where he needed to be, where he needed to push the defender. That was executed to perfection. Mahogany, great communication with the back there.
Yes, excellent communication.
This next one, Speaks, I am loving this new power formation that we've put into play here, where we got Montgomery, Gibbs, and Brock Wright usually in the backfield together. This particular one, we have decided to spread out the tight ends regardless, but we were using it earlier in the drive and all night, and it was really keeping the Ravens very honest. This one right here, this is Montgomery just bullying. If you look at the right side on that clip too, Speaks, Tate Ratledge and Penei Sewell just open up a massive running lane for Montgomery to cut it back to the outside and take it to the end zone there.
Yeah, and they were doing that all night long. The right side was a dominant force on the offensive line. We'll get into some statistics a bit later, but this was a great indication of just how dominant that right side of the offensive line was. And then you always have Waymo down the field blocking for his running backs, leading the charge in the end zone.
There's a reason Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes like him. That is one of the main reasons. They love receivers who can block. St. Brown does the same thing. They're some of the best in the business at it. But it's this type of performance that gives me a lot of hope for Tate Ratledge as a rookie guard too, because he's starting to mesh with Penei Sewell. And if he can mesh with Penei Sewell with his athletic ability, we're going to see this a lot more often.
We sure are.
This next one, this is Montgomery just, bulldozing into the end zone here. But you can also see the push that the offensive line's getting. Glasgow's able to stalemate that nose tackle there, and Montgomery's able to do Montgomery's thing as Knuckles and pounded into the end zone there.
Yeah, that was an excellent play call right there. We just needed to pound that thing down their throat, get it in the end zone, and we did just that. The offensive line, Glasgow had a great game. Mahogany played amazing, and just look at all the bodies there getting that push up front to get Knuckles in the end zone.
Yeah, might have been Glasgow's best game as a Lion.
Yeah, I would say playing the center position, that's the best I've seen him play, the most comfortable. His natural position is right guard, and he played center to perfection in this game, BK.
Yeah, it was absolutely a beautiful performance out of
He had his
Glasgow.
young left and right guard firing on all cylinders. So the analytics pointed out the particular favor in the right side of the offensive line. Penny Sewell earning the highest overall grade of 98.7, best among outside linemen in the NFL in Week 3, and a 96.3 run blocking grade. And rookie Tate Ratledge posting a 91.4 and a 90.2 in run blocking. That is just amazing, BK.
Massive game for Ratledge.
Just a massive game for the rookie with the mullet. The Lions' overwhelming run game also handed the Ravens a 27.4 run defense grade. That is the lowest the franchise has ever seen since PFF started keeping track back in 2006. Sonic and Knuckles shut the national media up, and the talking heads who love to hate on the Lions, referring to them as ass and cheek. Sonic and Knuckles had a huge performance this weekend, getting everyone to get off their backs and for us to show what we're made of in the trenches.
Boy, did they.
Did they ever.
I mean, they put themselves right back on the map. I don't know if they ever left the map when you're talking about the local audience. But yeah, the national media was looking at them. It's like, hey, with Ragnow being gone, with Zeitler being gone, are they really still those dudes?
Exactly.
They're really still those dudes.
Yeah, they really still are those dudes. And furthermore, the Lions mounted 2 drives of over 95 yards, including an 18-play drive in the second quarter that was a masterpiece that consumed most of that second quarter. The Ravens haven't given up a 95-plus yard touchdown drive since 2001, BK.
Just crazy.
That is so impressive.
And we had 2 of them.
We had 2 of them that game. That is just, we are firing on all cylinders versus a very, very well-respected and good Baltimore Ravens defense, BK.
Yeah, Speaks, I don't know if I've ever seen a more dominant drive in the NFL than that 10-minute and 48-second drive that the Lions put together in the third quarter. They went right down the Ravens' throats on that, and it was 15 plays or something like that.
15 plays, man. In complete and utter control.
Complete utter control, go the length of the field in an 11-minute span, which is almost an entire quarter. It was complete and utter dominance there. And then they're able to do it later on in the game, too.
Yeah.
Which was just an absolutely shocking performance. I didn't expect us to score there. Obviously, we were able to, take care of business twice.
Yeah, it was a welcoming thing to see on the road in that environment. And Johnny Moe had him firing on all cylinders. His play calling set up for the next play calling. Everything was in sequence. He had a very good feel for the game. Johnny Moe, give the guy some credit. Everyone was saying that with Ben Johnson gone, we weren't going to be the same team. Well, Johnny Moe put his own spin on it, and that can't be talked about enough.
No.
Because what he did and the feel he had for the game, the clutch fourth downs, the clutch third downs, it was just all in sequence and flew together. Just so amazing, BK.
Yeah, I mean, he was clicking on all cylinders with the play calling, and the team was ready to go. He had the boys ready to go. They got out there, and they showed what they were made of.
Yeah.
All right, Speaks, we got to dive into this one particular drive that the Ravens had. This was the turning point of the entire game.
It was.
But it starts with this.
The cherry on top.
And your boy Jake Bates. This is a kickoff where it looks like the Ravens are going to take this to the house. but Jake Bates comes up big.
No, not today.
And gets a massive tackle here to prevent him from going to the house. Just unbelievable effort from our kicker to get that done. I think that's his third tackle this year.
That's his third tackle this year, and that changes the whole complexity of the game. Jake Bates, the cherry on top, saves the touchdown, saves the landscape of the game. What a tackle, the cherry on top, Jake Bates. You're my boy, number 39.
Unsung hero here,
Yes.
because then the Ravens get down to the red zone, and this is where all the momentum changes.
Goal line stand.
Mind you, the Ravens have Derrick Henry, who's probably the most dominant running back that there is in the league.
Yeah.
Big guy, hits the hole hard. Good luck stopping him. And the Lions have to deal with him and Lamar Jackson at the 3-yard line, first and goal.
Not only that, Derrick Henry is the fastest getting to the line of scrimmage behind only Gibby.
I know. It's
So,
just
and then you
crazy
got
exercise.
Mark Andrews, who's a great tight end, who's great in the red zone too. Just amazing what we were able to do here.
First down. Henry up the gut. He gets a couple. I'm like, it's going to be tough to stop him here. I don't know. Second down. They're going back to Henry. They're getting to the line quick.
Getting to the line quick. Stop him again. Now look at that tackle by Barnes. Wraps him up. That was a beautiful tackle.
Holds his ground,
Yes.
too. That's the other side. As Henry usually falls forward, very rarely can a guy hold his ground and keep Henry in place.
That means Barnes is too strong.
Too strong. And then this next one, you knew they were going to go back to Henry. Henry had a bad week last week. He's trying to get into the end zone twice.
Look at
Little
that
pitch,
push.
Bam, Barnes right into the gap,
Again.
and they force him outside. They're able to push him back, and all of a sudden they're on the 2-yard line.
And they're on the 2-yard line, and I didn't think we were going to be able to do it again, but they kept surprising me last night.
They come out with this fourth down. Are they going Henry again? What's going to happen? Biggest play of the game, in my opinion. DJ Reed gets his hands up, makes that a very difficult throw for Lamar Jackson to get back in the end zone, and our boy Jack Campbell comes in there, and he swats that ball out, forces the fumble.
Jack Campbell, a man amongst boys. He was playing with the cut lip. He was just all over the place, led our team in tackles. What a play by Jack Campbell right there, BK.
Just to swat the ball.
Yeah.
Like,
the presence of mind.
The awareness
Yes.
in order to go for the football there, not trying to tackle Lamar. He's so difficult to tackle. They end up swatting the ball out and end up getting the stop here. Absolutely unbelievable goal line stand for the Lions. Completely swung the game there.
Completely swung the game, and I think it hurt Baltimore's momentum right there. When you're that close to the end zone, when you got Lamar Jackson, when you have Derrick Henry, and we were able to get the push, and then we were able to force him outside and then force a turnover on downs there, that is big, BK, on the road.
Oh, and the confidence
Yeah.
that it has to take away from the Ravens, who are like, nobody stops us inside. Derrick
Exactly.
Henry is going to get his 3 yards or whatever the case. When they don't get the touchdown there, I'm sure they're going back to the sidelines looking around like, what just happened?
Exactly. It was a shame we didn't get points after we made this stand. I was flustered as heck watching it, but in retrospect, it all worked out.
It all worked out, and that was a momentum changer that kind of threw Henry off his game a little bit.
And I think that really put things into perspective for our defense. We can stop these guys. We can be this defense that we know we can be. I think this stand really changed the complexity moving forward for the rest of the game for our defense. After those first 2 drives they had, we were really good on defense.
Speaks, we got to talk about this defensive effort in pressuring Lamar Jackson. That's been the question mark throughout the entirety of this season so far. Where are our pass rushers? We just lose Marcus Davenport, the other starting defensive end on the other side of Hutchinson. He goes on the IR with an injury. Al-Quaiden Muhammad is starting to get some traction here. Al-Quaiden was said, hey, he's going to get a lot more snaps this week. Boy, did he make the most out of these snaps. Speaks, we're talking about a situation where Muhammad has 2.5 sacks. Let's get into this and see just what Kelvin Shepard was drawing up here in order to throw Lamar Jackson off his game.
Yeah.
This first one, play action. Keep an eye on Branch here. 32, covering the tight end in the flats. Al-Quaiden Muhammad coming in and taking care of Lamar.
Quaid Muhammad's relentlessness and effort is unmatched. And then I liked what you brought up. If Branch doesn't cover the tight end right there, that is who Lamar wanted to go to. With him covering that, it freed up Muhammad to get that sack. Perfect execution by the defense. Great communication. Great scheme by Kelvin Shepherd.
Yeah, and the other side of this, too, is I hear a lot of fans talking about our secondary wasn't very good. Tyrion Arnold struggling to cover these guys because he had the one pass interference versus Hopkins. Hopkins looked like he got his hand in his face.
Yeah.
But, we're never going to get that call.
No.
That's pretty apparent. But, the side of this that people aren't talking about is there was a lot of coverage sacks here for the Lions.
There were.
Lamar was getting to his first, second read, but neither one were really available throughout the entirety of the game. You can see on this next clip here, you have Quaid Muhammad coming off the top of the edge here. He's going to get this pressure with his relentless effort like he showed the entire game. Ends up with 2.5 sacks here, Speaks. But you can also see the spy coverage here from Trevor Nowalski. He's able to move around and get to Lamar as he tries to escape the pocket here.
Yeah, Lamar did not know who was being a spy. We were stunting with our linebackers. He did not know what to do. He didn't want to throw a Hail Mary, and we did a really good job disguising when we were stunting and who was coming, who was staying back in coverage. Our linebackers did an excellent job all the way around.
Incredible job. And you'll see it here, too, on this next play, Speaks. You can see we have all the guys lined up at the line of scrimmage. We got 7 guys at the line of scrimmage right now showing blitz.
Yep.
We're going to drop some guys out, and this is where the confusion happens for Lamar Jackson.
This is where the stunts come in.
Yep, you drop a couple guys back, you get Hutch off the edge, and then Derek Barnes comes in and makes
tackle,
an
baby.
Incredible sack on Lamar Jackson there.
Yeah, that was a great sack by Barnes. The linebackers were all over the field. Kelvin Shepherd, former linebacker, I don't think he could have been prouder of his linebackers. And this is without Rodrigo, and we got Nowalski playing in for him. So, this is very well done by a great linebacking unit.
Yeah, top to bottom, and then also the stunts, like you were mentioning, coming from this defensive line were extremely efficient. The other side with that, too, is Aiden Hutchinson is causing havoc.
Yes,
people are going, teams are having to double team him. They're having to chip him. They're having to do a lot of different things, opening up a lot of room for these other guys. I think Kelvin Shepherd's catching on to that and starting to use it to his advantage.
And another thing that allows us to do all this with the stunts is knowing that we have a guy like Brian Branch and the ball hawk and Kirby Joseph back there. We feel that confident with those 2 all-pros in the back that we are allowed to move up the linebackers or move them back. However we see the cadence necessary to stunt and confuse Lamar, we executed very well.
Very well. And the other side with that is you're talking about a situation where you're having to cover a lot of different aspects with Lamar Jackson. You have to stunt in your lanes. You have to play strategically as a linebacker to make sure that you're not overcommitting.
Yes.
And those type of things here. And that is perfection on how we executed that. You could tell Shep trusted his guys, and his guys came out and showed why.
Yeah, and anytime you make Lamar look normal for as good and talented as he is, and he's confused and he doesn't know who's dropping back into coverage or who's coming to blitz him, we have done something right. Making Lamar Jackson look normal is very hard to do. He holds the NFL record right now for passion completion percentage, and for us to play this well against such a dynamic player when we've notoriously struggled with running quarterbacks, and I said it coming into this game, we have a new defensive coordinator now, and I didn't get much credit last week because we played Caleb Williams first week and Jordan Love, but this is a real running dual threat quarterback.
Well, and the pass rush was the big question mark,
yes.
Right? And what has happened here is Lamar Jackson has been sacked 10 times in the first 3 games. That's the most he's ever been sacked in a stretch of that type.
Yes.
But the Lions sacked him 7 times.
7 times.
Yes, right. When is the last time that has happened? Because I don't think it's ever happened.
Lamar Jackson has never been sacked 7 times in his career in a single game. It just hasn't happened. So we dialed up the schemes to perfection, BK.
Now you can see here, Speaks, at the bottom of the screen, we finally got our boy Aiden Hutchinson getting to the quarterback here.
Hunting season, baby.
Hunting season. He's been trying to get to the quarterback a little bit more, coming off the injury. He's looking like he's back to life.
That inside move was pretty. He just slides right in and around. That takes an athletic specimen, and boy, was he firing on all cylinders. It looks like he got better and better as the game went on.
It's looked like he's gotten better and better the last couple
as
weeks.
The seasons went on, right?
You forget that he is coming off of a season-ending surgery. He's ahead of time.
Gruesome.
Finally, he's starting to get his speed back. He's
comfortable.
Starting to get back into those stunts that he was doing. The spin move that he has patented over the years. The little swim inside, and the rip inside, like you just mentioned. Just unbelievable effort out of Hutch, game in and game out, and it's great to see him having the results the last couple weeks here.
100%, BK.
Then this next one, Speaks, you're going to see Alex Anzalone get involved here a little bit. Thor dropping the hammer, but what it comes down to here is Al-Qaeda Muhammad gets him a little bit flustered, but Lamar Jackson starts to go backwards because he doesn't see a lane to run.
Doesn't see a lane to run, and the relentlessness pays off. Al-Qaeda Muhammad and Anzalone get the sack there. That's another sack by a linebacker. Just awesome stuff to see. Our defense and our front seven had put on historic performance, BK. This is the most sacks that the Ravens have given up in a single game, 7. And Dan Campbell didn't hold back on how happy he was and proud of his front 7 after the game. The Lions coach said that they prepped for this all weekend using practice squad player Malik Cunningham.
You talked about.
The guy talked about in the last game to prepare for Lamar Jackson and his niftiness on the offense side of the football.
It was a great move.
It was a great move. It paid off abundantly with what we were able to do and how we were able to contain Lamar from top to bottom the whole game.
Got to replicate the speed somehow.
Yes, and we didn't have it, so we went out and got it. MCDC, I love you.
And then this last one here, Speaks. Trevor Nowalski finally getting rewarded for his spying on Lamar Jackson throughout the entirety of the game, really. He finally gets him to take the bait and
Lamar tries to
him.
make a move on him, and Nowalski has him standing still. You don't see that very often when Lamar puts his foot in the ground. The guy's usually going one way. Nowalski, the hometown Michigan kid, says, I got you, Lamar.
And that was a big factor in this pass rush.
Was.
Just keeping Lamar contained, keep him in the box, make him try to hurt you with his arm. Lions executed it to perfection.
The stunts were dialed in by the linebackers.
Speaks, not only were we able to get pressure on Lamar Jackson throughout the entirety of this game, but this defense also was able to take the football from the high-powered Baltimore offense. This first one, man, I'm telling you, this rattled Derrick Henry for the rest of the game. Aiden Hutchinson coming in, punching that ball out. That changes the entire game.
And Aiden Hutchinson said that was the very first time he's ever been able to punch a ball out like that in his whole career. He said he made a play. He didn't even know that he punched it out. And he's like, whoa, that thing popped out of there. And then DJ Reed with the recovery, baby. Let's go, Aiden Hutchinson.
You can tell how shocked Derrick Henry was. They fumbled too. Notoriously, this guy does not fumble the football. And he's fumbled now 3 straight weeks.
And 2 times in the fourth quarter.
2 times in the fourth quarter. And they were talking about benching him and stuff like that. It looked like on the sidelines. He looked completely rattled after that play. Never was really the same.
He looked rattled after the game. They're like, how are you going to get better at this? He's like, I don't know. I'm going to keep practicing. I got to work on it. He was rattled. Hutch, the defense, we rattled their cage. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose to Kansas City and drop to 1-4 next week.
That's a bold statement, but I could see it happening.
Well, one of them's going to go 1-4.
And there is that Lions hangover. People forget about it.
Yeah.
But this next one, we've already talked about it a little bit earlier. This was the 4th down play, but this is a turnover in its own right with what Jack Campbell and DJ Reed are able to do there. They're able to knock the ball out of Lamar's hands and force the turnover on downs.
Which is pretty impressive because if you notice at the beginning of the play there, DJ Reed wasn't even set. I don't even know know if he knew what play we were running, and he just runs over, and then he gets in Lamar's face, and the rest is history.
This happened on the drive coming right out of the second half, Speaks. I thought Brian Branch was gonna have this one. He baits
what a
Lamar
read.
Jackson.
What a read by Brian Branch right there. And he just, and the thing is there are guys who can't catch the ball. He is one who has great hands and can catch the ball. He had that thing read to perfection, just missed the catch, man. That happens. But what a play and move by Brian Branch. BB, baby. Get your popcorn ready.
Yeah, and I would say that this wasn't his best game.
No, it
and
wasn't.
like you say, it's not his best game, but he's still always around the football.
Yeah.
He's still making impactful plays. That was a great play. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to pick it. This is the same drive here, Speaks. Another close one. Another close one. I can't believe Derrick Henry threw this football.
Lamar was pissed at it.
It was supposed to go back to Lamar, and he ends up trying to force it in there, and DJ Reed almost has that one too. Now, given they don't get those turnovers, Speaks, but they're close to getting those turnovers.
We're close.
And the fact that you're around it, and the fact that you're able to put yourself in a position,
and force them in the position.
yeah, to make a play like that is so big. I think that's going to be a huge factor for us going forward. If our offense is scoring like it is, if we can steal possessions anywhere, it is going to be absolutely massive for us going forward, and we're going to see ourselves having a lot more wins in that win count.
100%.
All right, Speaks, let's talk about the difference makers in this game. The guys
studs
who really stood out to us. My offensive player of the week here is David Montgomery.
Can't go wrong there.
He came in, he made his impact with his physical nature, his physical running style, showed why people call him Knuckles, comes out, posts 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then he had 1 reception for 13 yards.
12 carries.
On 12 carries. The production was unbelievable with Montgomery. He ended up coming in and making a huge impact and really swinging the game with some of the runs that he made there. Offensive line assisted him a lot, but, great game out of Montgomery.
Yes.
My defensive player of the game, El Quaiden Muhammad. First time he gets the start in a
one bad
Detroit
man.
Lions uniform, ends up going for 2.5 sacks, had a relentless motor all night, was all over Lamar Jackson and made him uncomfortable throughout. Relentless effort. Loved what I saw out of him. Who you got, Speaks?
Who do I got? I got Son of God, the guy who I said we didn't give enough.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
You're darn right. The guy who I said that we didn't give enough credit and enough love to on this pod. St. Brown not only had timely catch after timely catch. When we needed a touchdown, if we needed a third down, if we needed a fourth down, we were going to St. Brown. The trickery. But he also doesn't get enough credit for the master he does in the cut, split, run formation. He's never afraid to engage, and his commitment to be aggressive in the run blocking sets our running backs up for success. You don't see too many wide receivers with his skill set being able to block and want to block like that. St. Brown, keep doing your thing. On the defensive end, I'm going Jack Campbell. Campbell was an absolute monster, playing with a bloody lip half the game, forced to have a bandage to stop the bleeding. Jack Campbell, 8 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, forced fumble, and a sack.
All right, Speaks, let's grade these coaches. What do you got for your report card this week?
MCDC, I'm giving him an A+. From top to bottom, he had the troops firing on all cylinders. He had the defense playing good. He had the offense playing good. We had the cadences playing good. MCDC had these boys ready to rock and roll. We were focused, and we were firing, baby. I loved the intensity he brought. Everything was great. And then on the defense side of the ball, I'm giving Kelvin Shepard an A-. We started off a little slow, but we came together, a cohesive unit. The stunts, we were confusing the heck out of Lamar Jackson. Linebacker play was top-notch. The pressure was top-notch. We're making El Quaiden Muhammad looking like a Pro Bowl player. Hutch is getting back on track. The coverage, the design schemes were amazing. And then we get into the offensive side of the football with Johnny Moe. What a performance by Johnny Moe. The strategically, he had that game flowing in a way that you can only do when you understand the offense and the players and put them in the best positions. And then Hank Fraley, offensive line. Wow, what a difference a couple weeks make. A- for Hank Fraley.
Okay.
How about you, BK?
I like it. Well, I'm going to go quick with it, but I'm going to tell you right now, Dan Campbell, A+. Had the guys ready to go. It's never easy to go into Baltimore on prime time and get a win. He had these guys ready to go and all the confidence in the world that they were going to get the win. Kelvin Shepard, defensive coordinator. I'm going to give him an A. I know you gave him the A-, but it is extremely difficult to contain Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. He did an excellent job of stunting and confusing them and throwing them off their game. A there. Johnny Morton, I got him at an A-. I thought the passing attack could be a little better, but the running attack was just gashing Baltimore. And then that leads me into Hank Fraley, the offensive line coach. A+. These boys looked completely different than they did versus Green Bay week 1. All right, Speaks, finally let's dive into our predictions for this week's game. The Detroit Lions are hosting the Cleveland Browns, 1 p.m. kickoff over at Ford Field. Detroit Lions are 8.5-point favorites. How do you think this one's going to go?
Well, with the Detroit Lions at home and now us having Mr. Momentum on our side, I don't see Cleveland being able to score enough points to keep up with our offense. Yes, their defense is tremendous, but they aren't going to be able to do enough to keep up with our offense. They just don't have the pieces on the offensive side of the ball. They got average Joe Flacco over there, the old geezer. I just don't see them being able to score enough points with us. Just like we did and against Baltimore, we're going to do against Cleveland. We're going to score more points, we're going to force more turnovers, and we're going to make a good quarterback look like an average quarterback. I got us winning this one 28-17 at home in front of the hometown fans.
I like it. I like it. So, Speaks, I think you make some good points. I think the Cleveland Browns defense is very good. Mason Graham's a problem over there, their rookie defensive tackle. We know about him from the University of Michigan. He's been playing lights out since starting in the league. Myles Garrett,
the boogeyman himself,
continues to be a very big problem for opposing offenses as well. They actually have the top-ranked defense in all the NFL throughout the first 3 weeks. Lions are playing at home. Lions offense is clicking on all cylinders. Lions offense is different than anything they've probably seen this year. I think the Lions offense comes out and they are able to score, but I don't think they're going to score the same way that they did versus Baltimore this week or the way that they did versus Chicago the week previous. I think the Lions get this done defensively. I think the crowd behind the Lions ends up willing them in order to get these stops. I got the Lions winning this thing 24-13 in kind of a slugfest where the Lions are able to just get enough pressure on Flacco to cause him some problems with the limited weapons on the outside and our offense doing enough to score here.
I think our coaches put us in really good positions to seal this W, just like they did the previous 2 weeks. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Detroit Sports Flow with BK and Speaks, you blue Kool-Aid drinkers. You guys have a great rest of your nights, you filthy animal. Until next time when we recap the game versus the Browns.
Go Lions.